Good evening. Welcome to the Hedberg Public Library. Our program this evening is the second part of the Life Online Navigating a Digital World series. We will share information about RSS feeds, delicious.com, Facebook, and wikis. Tonight we'll also tell you more about these tools and what they are, why people use them, how they can help you. My name is Jean Yeomans. I'm the Adult Services Coordinator, and I'll be presenting the first two tools. We will be taking questions after each part of the presentations this evening, so if you want to save your questions until each one of us is done with our parts, we'll be glad to answer questions at that time. So I'll start out with discussing RSS feeds and delicious.com. Then Diana McDonald will talk about Facebook, and Kate Hull will wrap it up when she talks about wikis. So the first thing I have on the screen is the title for this particular part of the program, RSS feeds. I've included the little symbol that you will see on websites that you can get RSS feeds from. Is that orange square with like sound wave symbols on it. So that's what you're going to see on the web page, and I'll show you some web pages so you can get an idea where you're going to see that on those individual things. Now, first of all, what is RSS feeds? Well, RSS, the three letters stand for Really Simple Syndication or Rich Site Summary. And what I thought of, instead of trying to remember really simple syndication, there are more technical words. I think of it as basically a subscription. You're getting a subscription to a website. You are getting notification through these RSS feeds that a website has changed some of the content on their site. You can think of CNN.com or local news and radio stations, websites when they put up new information, or when your favorite blog that you subscribe to, the person has added new content. This is what is used to inform you of those changes. You don't go back to the website itself, you're just given the new content. Okay? RSS helps you determine what's worth reading in depth and what is not. So it's kind of a helper to us. You're not getting all this extraneous information that you have to wade through. You're going to get just the basic that you want, the updated content, and not a lot of fluff. You're not going to get spam, ads, etc. It's just going to be the content that's updated. And as I mentioned earlier, it's used by news websites, blogs, and even like NPR or different radio stations who do podcasts, TV stations that do podcasts, and so on, where you can listen to an interview with an author or some other person of note. So it's great for finding out what's going on right after it happens and when it hits the wire. What you need for RSS feeds are, first of all, a computer. You also need an internet connection. You need a website that has RSS feed that you want to subscribe to. And as I mentioned earlier, you need to look for that little symbol, that little orange box symbol. Then you need a feed, what they call a feed reader or aggregator, which is basically the application, the computer application that looks for the updates. Mozilla, Firefox, Internet Explorer, Safari all have installed readers within their browsers. It's already there for you. You don't have to get a new program or anything. These are all free. My Yahoo and Google Reader are two particular examples of feed readers. Google Reader is very easy to use. My Yahoo is also, so it's up to you personally what you'd like to use. But the feed reader is basically that computer application that does all the work for you in finding the updates. How to sign up for your RSS feeds is pretty simple. First, you need to get that aggregator or feed reader all set up. So you can go to, for example, like Google Reader, get that all running up, and it'll take you through exactly what you need to do. Then you go to your favorite news or blog site and subscribe. So you'll be looking for that orange icon on the website, which is usually, in most cases, found next to the home or that house icon that's on the web page, in that search engine bar, toolbar. Click on that icon, and then you'll see on that page that comes up, you'll see a subscribe to this feed link. And then you should be all set for that particular website that you want to get updates from. When you subscribe, it automatically lets you know. You don't tell it, I want them every 24 hours or whatever. It will automatically do whenever they update. For example, I get them from CNN and BBC. .co.uk. I'll find those updates frequently during the day. I don't have to do anything, it just comes to me. If you want to, on certain browsers, you can click on the favorites section in the toolbar to view the updates you've gotten by the website name. So it'll list them, CNN, BBC, whatever websites, in a row, and then it'll give you a one-line subject update. For example, President Obama in Indonesia, something like that, or President Bush, former President Bush releases new book, that kind of thing. You can save time if you don't want to just randomly search the internet for websites you want to have updated and let you know those updates by going to a website such as feedster.com or syndicate.com to search for blogs, news sites, etc. that are of interest to you. So they'll give you lists of things. So if you're interested in ice hockey, you're interested in following fashion information, any particular political candidate or person, you know, all those different things, you can search for them on feedster.com or syndicate.com and then find out which one of those websites you might be interested in getting updates on. Vocabulary that you'll come across with RSS feeds is, first of all, RSS, as we mentioned before, really simple syndication, or as I call it, a subscription. The word feeds, which are actually the means by which you can read, view, or listen to items without having to go back to that website you want updates from. You get those feeds by subscribing to the newsreader or aggregator. So the feeds are the means by which you can view those updates. And then the feed reader, also known as a feed aggregator or a newsreader, is actually the computer application that will do the searching for you. So most often you'll see those three terms when you're learning more about RSS feeds. And if I can do it, you can do it. That's simple enough. It sounds more complicated than it really is. I've listed a couple of resources that I've used. We do have most of these on the table over on the other side of the room. If you're interested in looking at any of these, you can check any of these out tonight. And I also listed some websites that you might want to go to learn a little bit more. Tonight you're getting kind of a quick and dirty presentation about what RSS feeds are and what they can do for you. But if you want to take a little bit more time, these websites and the books listed will give you more in-depth information. And as I said earlier, at the end of each presentation, we'll take questions, and that's pretty much the end, except I do have one more. I think I have one, whoops, I guess that is the end of mine. Yep. I think that was the end of mine on RSS feeds. Sorry about the technical difficulty here. Yep, that was the end of that one. So if you haven't, do you have any questions about RSS feeds?
Where does it come? Does it come on into your browser, into a tab on your browser?
It
Comes
depends.
into your email.
It depends on some websites. It's under favorites.
Okay.
And you'll see a list of websites that you like to go to, and then you'll see, at least on mine, at home, there'll be the little RSS feed icon in front of the ones that I have the subscriptions to. So sometimes under that favorites link on your toolbar.
So you-
Other times it's through Microsoft Outlook. There is an RSS feeds button at the end of the list. You may have a list of all your folders. And then at the bottom, there's the sent or the trash, whatever. And then there's also sometimes an RSS feeds folder, in which case you click that, open it up, and get your latest updates. So it's generally either favorites or it's in the email. That's what I found to date.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions about RSS feeds? As I mentioned, it's simpler than it sounds. It sounds a lot more complicated, but it is kind of nice because then you do get those updates quickly. If it's something of national importance, you're a news reader, or if it's something about an author, you subscribe to their website and they're putting up their new tour list, that kind of thing that might include Janesville or whatever, you could get those updates very quickly instead of having to go to the website, click all their links on the website. It just comes a lot faster. So it's a little shortcut for you. It saves you time. Okay? All right, let's go ahead and talk about the next tool, and that one is delicious.com. Get this going here. Okay, delicious.com is a bookmarking website. I have a copy of the symbol for delicious, which is the square with 4 boxes in white, gray, blue, and black. And you'll see that it's easy to install those on your toolbar. It's not very difficult at all. It's a nice way to keep track of your bookmarks. First of all, Delicious, and you type in delicious.com, is a free social bookmarking service. So it's a place to save your bookmarks online. You can share them with other people and see what other people are bookmarking. You can also choose to stay private. You have that option. It's like Facebook, as we'll talk about later, has some privacy options. Delicious does too. So you don't have to let everybody in the world know that you're going to a lot of knitting websites, or you're going to a lot of Green Bay Packer websites, or whatever websites you're going to. So it's a social bookmarking service. How to get there? As you can see on the web page, you'll type in delicious.com in the box up here, and you'll get their web page, which looks like this. This is not the latest because I did this yesterday, so down here, the fresh bookmarks is different now than it was yesterday. What you'll see here is the name of the website. It calls itself the tastiest bookmarks on the web. Save your own or see what's fresh now. On the right-hand side, you'll see in the green box, that's where you go ahead and sign up for the service. And it's the basic application form that you do for most websites that you sign up for on the internet with your name, your email, etc., that kind of information. And then in the blue box on the right is where you go ahead and sign in each time you come back after you've joined. Again, it's free. Down here you have a list of what are the most recent bookmarks that people have put on Delicious, and it ranges dramatically. There are real technical things. The real computer tech kind of people have their websites up there. There are people here, Sam Storyteller, whatever that is up there. Risk assessment of dihydrogen monoxide. So everybody uses it. It's in terms of all different professions, and people with various interests use it. You can search Delicious if you want to by putting in a keyword or a couple of keywords. So if you want to look for something in particular, like on the Green Bay Packers, or you want to look up something maybe on Janesville, Wisconsin, you can type that in the box there, hit the search button, and it'll take you to a list of bookmarks that other people have come up with. Then you'll also see in the middle here, the middle tab is the hot list. Those are what's most popular. So multiple people have bookmarked those sites, and they'll have what's most popular at that moment. And then on the far right are, I can't read that, explore tags. So those are where you can type in whatever you want. I mean, you can click on that and you'll see different tags that people have used. Tag is a vocabulary word that you see on Delicious. A tag is just another word for a keyword. What you need to get to delicious.com obviously is the computer. You can use any computer. It can be here at the library, it can be here at home, it doesn't matter. Internet access and websites to bookmark. So you need those three things. It's very simple. The key thing obviously is you need to have some websites that you want to go to and bookmark. That's what you need. You need that content. How to save your bookmarks is pretty easy. The first thing you need to do, as I mentioned before, is you're going to have to sign in. So you're going to have to fill out the application and the sign-in information, come up with a user ID and a password for Delicious, and then they will have, and they have the instructions in their quick tour option of how to put the Delicious icons up on your toolbar, and they would appear most likely over on the right-hand side of that favorites toolbar. And this is the Internet Explorer that we have up here now. It might be on the left on Mozilla Firefox. I can't remember for sure. But the Delicious icon will come up over here on that toolbar. And then whenever you go to a website that you like, you can click on the Delicious icon and tell it, I want to save this as a bookmark in my account. So it's fairly easy. Post to Delicious and My Delicious are the two icons that are highlighted in the drawing. And Post to Delicious is saving the site that you're actually on at that moment. And then My Delicious lets you view all your bookmarks. So it makes sense. My Delicious is my personal set of bookmarks. It lets me look at them and what words I use, the keywords I use or tags I use in a variety of ways. Okay, website support is right on the bottom of the Delicious homepage. I have just done a screenshot of the support page. Excuse me. So it's down, excuse me, it's down at the very bottom of the delicious.com homepage. Click on it and you see the support page that has lots of different options for you in terms of questions that may be common, like how do I reset my password? How do I install those buttons or icons for Delicious on my toolbar? And then if you don't see your question listed there, there's another set on the next page of more frequently asked questions. And then if you still need more help, they give you a link to their facts page. There are another set of frequently asked questions. And then they also give you an option, as you can see right down here, where you can type in your particular question. Maybe it didn't show up on those sites. Something still wasn't, you're not getting the answer you need. So you can go ahead and email them, and they'll email you back. So you have to have an email address so they can contact you back with a question. The vocabulary, again, bookmark is the address of a favorite website. Sort of like when you're using a bookmark in a book, you're saving your place in the book. A bookmark on the web is like you're saving your place at that particular website. This is the website for HPL. I've bookmarked it, so it's in my list of favorites. A tag are words, or a word or words used to describe a bookmark. For example, you could use football, Green Bay, whatever descriptive words that would help you get to the website that you're interested in. And then again, at the end here, I've got a list of resources. There were two good books that I found, and they're both on the table that you can check out from our collection, as well as 3 links to the websites I used in terms of finding out more technical things, ways to sign up for things, delicious.com. The website ehow.com has a good tutorial, and then youtube.com has a nice tutorial on signing up for delicious.com also, and getting started on that, as well as other questions too. There's a number of videos on youtube.com. So are there any questions about Delicious? Yes?
I guess I'm confused as to how this differs from just having
It
websites and your favorites.
organizes them. You can have a much bigger list than your favorites. You can categorize things, that's what's nice.
Plus, wouldn't it be a way to get to your favorites when you're not on your, if you're not
Right.
on your own?
Yeah, if you're not on your own home computer and can't get to your favorites list, you've got this list out on the internet that you can access from anywhere. So it's portable. Kate, did you want to add anything? That was the same thing, yeah. So it's out there. You can access it from any computer. Okay, it's a good question. Any other questions about Delicious? As I mentioned, you can share this. This can be a social kind of thing, so you can share websites with friends if you want to. I've not gone that far. I've just kept to myself and just done the things that interest me. So I have not gone further in sharing, but there are people who do send them back and forth to each other. So it is somewhat of a social site in that sense. But you can keep your sites private. You don't have to participate in any kind of group things. Okay, if there aren't any more questions, we'll go ahead and Diana will come up and talk about Facebook. Thank you. I'll get out of here for you. And then I'll let you go ahead. Nope.
My talk is about Facebook, www.facebook.com, and that is the logo for Facebook that you see, and you also see the web address for the website. At the top here, it says, what is Facebook? And that white F in the blue is the little logo that you will see on websites, just as Jean showed you the orange RSS feed logo that is on websites. If a website is available on Facebook, they will have that blue logo with the white F, and that means they have a presence on Facebook. You will also find that company or that library or that person on Facebook. I took a definition from Wikipedia. It's a little wordy, but it kind of gives you the essence. Facebook is a social networking service and website that focuses on reflecting and building relationships among people, including their interests and activities. And this definition is good because it tells you that you're reflecting on relationships. So people that you already know, your relationship is growing, but people that you may not have seen for years, you're building on the relationship that you may once have had with them. And it includes their interests and activities. You can play games with other people on Facebook. There's a lot of different things you can do. Some of the things you can do on Facebook, you can create a personal profile, you add friends, exchange messages, and these messages are private messages. You can join different groups. I'm in a neighborhood group where I grew up in Duluth, Minnesota. We have a group for our street where we all used to live. And you can receive notifications, and we're going to go into that a little further. There's a lot of vocabulary in Facebook, and you've probably heard of a lot of the terms that are used in Facebook. We're gonna go through them quick, and then we're gonna go live. I'm gonna show you my page and show you where all of these are. When you first log into your website and Facebook, you're gonna see the home page and the news feed. The news feed gives you all of the updates for all of your friends on Facebook. So that's what you see when you first come in. Profile is your own personal page that you set up on Facebook. A friend is the people that you communicate with on Facebook. And for someone to be your friend, they must add you as a friend, they must okay you as a friend, and you must okay them. So it's a back and forth. You are saying it's okay that we're friending each other. Status is a message that you put on your wall. We'll talk about the wall next. It's on your profile. I know of some people that update their status multiple times a day. It's almost like they're tweeting. They're giving you an update of what they're doing throughout the day. The wall is on your profile page, and it's where your friends will post comments. You can post a link to YouTube videos on your wall. You can put photographs on your wall. Quite a few different things you can do on a wall. You can block people on your Facebook page. There are privacy settings, and people, for whatever reason, you can block them from even finding you on Facebook. So when you have block is in place, if you have blocked a person and they try to find your profile, it will not even show up. Your name will not show up. Poke is on your news feed. It's just a little way you go back and forth with each other. It just kind of says hello, and I'll show you one on my page. Tag. In Facebook, a tag actually identifies someone in a photo or on a link. And I'll show you one of those. And a notification is when you've commented on a photograph. Let's say somebody's posted a photograph, you've put a little comment underneath, and someone else comments on that photograph. There's a place on your page that will tell you that somebody else has commented, and then you can keep track of the conversation. Like on our neighborhood page, we have all these neighbors that have been talking about a photograph that was taken back in the 70s of a snowstorm, and people have been talking back and forth. Well, to keep track of that, you have notifications on your wall, on your news feed and on your wall. You also can get them in your email. So I get notification whenever anybody's commented on my wall or commented on a photo, I can get it in my email. So that's what a notification is. Now, how do you get into Facebook and how do you create a profile? What you need are two things. You need an email address and you need a password. So when you go to the website www.facebook.com, your login, if you have an account already, is right at the top. So you log in with your full email address and your password and hit login. And it'll take you immediately to the home page. It's basically your home page, your news feed. If you need to sign up, I have made an imaginary person named Jane Smith with her email address, re-entered her email. When you put in the password, I believe it will not show up, but I'm showing you a pretty complex password with numbers and letters. It will ask you if you're male or female, and it will ask for your birthday. And it says, why do I need these for my to sign in? Because they will appear on your profile. And then you hit your green button for sign up, and you will go into Facebook and you can start setting up a profile page. The resources here, I picked a few more current titles. And then under websites, Facebook their help page is not very user-friendly. So I picked out a couple of other web pages, and what you really need to be sure about when you're looking at Facebook help web pages is that they're current. The very last part of this slide says to make sure you use dated websites on or after October of 2010, because some major changes were made to Facebook just last month. And these two look to be pretty current. So let's take a look. And I'm going to quickly go through parts of Facebook profile page. This is my actual profile. At the top of the page, you'll see two people together. This is where your friends requests would come in. So if somebody wants to friend you, there'll be a number in red and your request will be there. The next one over are your private messages. I have 2 private messages right now, and what I just do is I just click my mouse and those will open up. It tells me I have 2. Next to it are those notifications, and I'll actually click on those. And you'll notice that Kate posted to my wall 50 minutes ago. It just gives you what's happening on your profile. This is your news feed. This shows you all my friends and people that are talking to them. These are the comments underneath, different comments. You also have your most recent. Top news are people that you may be talking to a little more than others. Most recent will be everybody. I have 150 friends, so if I click on most recent, there's been 290 different activities done by those 150 friends since the last time I checked Facebook, which might have been this morning. So it's very active. Down here, my brother wants to poke, so I'm going to poke him back. See if it worked. And then I say okay. And that's all you do. It's just a way to say hi. I have over on the left is some of the different, you can go to messages, events. If I click on these, this newsfeed page is going to change. I also have a Scrabble game going with a friend, so you can play a game. And when that number comes up, that means she actually made a move on her Scrabble game, and so I'm ready to make my play. Any account information is over here on the right. And you have privacy settings, help center. This is where you log out. I'm going to go to show you my profile. This is where your wall is. And Kate posted to my wall and said, have fun at Life Online tonight. So right here it says wall. You can go into photos. I have some photos. When you scroll down, you'll see friends over here, how many friends you have. And then tagging on pictures will happen when you go into any of these photographs. You can actually tag people on your photos. So that kind of gives you an idea of how it looks. To get back to that newsfeed page, I click on Facebook. So you go back and forth between your profile. So I'm going to log out. And I want to let you all know we're going to be adding a Facebook class. So the Arrowhead Library System, some of the libraries will actually have Facebook classes where you can come in and learn even more on how maybe loading photos. I'm not sure how much we're gonna go into things, but it gives you a little overview. Any questions?
When is the Facebook Live?
I think we're on February?
Late winter, early spring.
Yes. So we'll let you know. Yes? Carol?
You mentioned major changes since October. Is that because of the privacy issues? Or,
They made some changes to how the groups are set up. And it wasn't necessarily a privacy issue, although some privacy issues came out of it. And there was what was happening is that you could sign other people up for a group even if they didn't want to be. So it was a way to notify people, and some people thought that the privacy issues, that was not a good thing. And I'm not really sure where it's at right now, but I remember when the brouhaha came up because people were being, usually when you want to join a group, like my group of all of our neighborhood friends, you are invited, you are told about the group, and then you have a choice on whether or not you want to join. Well, there was some kind of change made in October where with some groups you could have people join and they didn't say yes or no. Okay, have you heard any more on that issue?
no, I have a question.
Yes.
What's your favorite thing about Facebook?
My favorite thing about Facebook is reconnecting with people that I have not talked to in many years that will find you. Like my Scrabble game right now is going on with a high school friend. I sang for a wedding 25 years ago and I have not seen her much since, and we reconnected. And what happens on your newsfeed page, over on the right, it'll tell you mutual friends. So if you're friends with somebody from high school and they're friends with somebody else you haven't seen, sometimes their picture will show up. And their picture will show up because you are not friends with them and maybe you want to be. And I think that's how I found Therese, who I'm doing the Scrabble thing with now. All of a sudden, I hadn't thought of her, her picture showed up, and boom, we're talking again. So that's my favorite, reconnecting. So watch for the class. Arrowhead Library System will be offering a class.
Can I ask you just
Hedberg.
a question?
Yes?
Okay, I have mine all set on all privacy. Okay, so let's say I send a, whatever you want to call it, but a message to my sister. And I don't want my other sister to see it. Maybe it's a surprise, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but I have found that what I thought was privacy, I can look into other people's, I don't understand that. What, are they not in privacy or what?
There is, over on the right, on your account settings, where I drop down to log out on account settings, you can go in and you can have friends only, but sometimes people have their settings on friends of friends. So sometimes, even if you haven't actually friended them and you found them on Facebook, you can go on their photos and everything. So yes, their settings,
Okay.
so there are multiple
And
choices.
tell her about the friend to friend on the left-hand side where where someone can.
Yes, and you
Yeah,
can
put some-
message,
yeah.
you can message. Over on the left, I had two private messages, so you can send private messages there,
And go just to that.
just to that person, however many you want. Carol?
And I also read somewhere recently that, again, getting back to this privacy, that when there's upgrades, you should always check your account to make sure that it has been up, I mean, it is accurate.
Correct.
Because it can change
Correct.
when they,
They're always updating these websites, so you have to watch your privacy settings. And you get into privacy by going into account. There's a drop-down menu. It says privacy settings, and you go in, and it'll say friends only, friends of friends, everyone. and I have friends only on, and you have to do settings on all different aspects of your profile. Do I want friends only to see the photos? Yes. And there's little drop downs, you have to pick it on every single one. And when you're seeing something on somebody's profile that you might not see on someone else's profile, that means their privacy settings aren't at the
It's
full
very-
degree. Right,
Mine
it's
are
lenient.
so-
Yes,
So I can't assume that they're not gonna get.
exactly. Mhm.
When you do the class, like winter, early spring, it would be helpful to have some problem solving, what you can do to solve some problems. I finally closed one Facebook account and opened up another one because my name was my email address was too close to someone else's, and I was getting all of their messages.
Wow.
And I emailed them and said, I'm getting your email, and I don't want it.
Mhm.
And I could not get through to Facebook to problem solve that.
Oh.
So I closed it,
Mhm.
and occasionally it will still come through.
Okay.
You can close an email, close a Facebook account, and open it almost by accident. Because when you go to sign in, it will complete, put in one letter and it will complete. You have to watch what you've got. Well, anyway, I have found them Facebook not very customer friendly at all.
We will be sure to pass that on. Troubleshooting, make sure your passwords are complex.
Yeah.
It's very helpful. You need complex passwords, otherwise your accounts can be compromised.
And again, you can close it off and
Yes.
rejoin under another
Well,
name.
and that's gone forever, when you closed off.
Hmm?
That's gone forever.
No, you can reactivate it very
Yes.
easily.
Yes.
In fact,
Down on the bottom left, it'll say deactivate your profile, and you can shut it down, but as Carolyn said, you can reactivate it anytime.
and you can reactivate it by accident, and
Mhm.
they'll send you an email and say, thank you for coming back. No, go away.
So you can't actually delete it?
Evidently not.
I don't think so. Which is also good to know. Thank you.
Next up, we have Kate Hall, another librarian here at Hedberg, talking about wikis. Kate?
Hi, everybody. I'm going to talk to you about wikis today. And just pull up my PowerPoint. So, the first thing people usually comment on wikis are the strangeness of the name. So I want to tell you that the name comes from Hawaiian for quick or fast. And just keep that in mind because the idea of wikis are that they're supposed to be easy and quick. They're also sometimes called social websites and workspaces. A wiki is a website that's easy to create, it's easy to edit, almost always by multiple people, and it's often free. And the wikis I'm going to tell you about are free. When you hear wiki, you might automatically think of Wikipedia. And so Wikipedia is one example of a wiki. It's an online encyclopedia that anyone can edit. And in case you've never gone to it, but you've heard of it, I do have the web address down here. It's just wikipedia.org. If you were going to search Wikipedia because you had a topic you weren't sure about, you would just plug it into the search box right here. And you would keep in mind that anyone could be putting that information out there. But with Wikipedia, what makes it a good example of a wiki is it's constantly being edited. And anyone can log in and edit it. You might create a wiki when email reply all goes out of control. And what I mean by that is you might be able to picture especially a workplace scenario where somebody emails you a document and you make a change to it and email it back. And you send it out to another person that has new information to contribute. And this just keeps going on and filling up your email box. You might want to just create a wiki. On your handout, under where to get more information, one of the resources is called Common Craft, and it's a website that you can go to. And somebody did this great job of putting it in plain English why you might want to create a wiki. And his example is a camping trip, where instead of saying, you bring the tent, we also need a flashlight, and then somebody else comes back and says, I don't have a tent. You just put all that information on the wiki and make your changes. If you want a website, but you don't want to invest a lot of time or money into it, you don't need the fancy bells and whistles, you just want the information online, you can do a wiki. If the need is temporary, you're going on one camping trip and then you're done with camping, you don't need a website that's going to live on forever and need lots of updates. You can just do a wiki. These are some examples of who tends to create wikis. The first one I have listed is schools, and I think this is one of the best uses of a wiki. Kids who are really getting used to the computer can all work together on a project. They can edit each other's work. They can contribute to an ongoing project. So I have two examples up here. And I'll just open one up. So almost any wiki that you're going to look at is going to appear differently. So that's why I'm not showing you a ton of examples. But this was a class must have done a project on the properties of water. And you can imagine different groups all contributing to this. Their teacher was probably a moderator of the wiki, so if one kid got smart and put something inappropriate up there, you can go back on a wiki to a previous version, and you don't have to worry about that inappropriate content anymore. Other places that use wikis, a business or organization might have an internal wiki, and what I mean by that is, at Hedberg we have a website for the public, but some of our different groups might create wikis just for themselves. And so I created one that you can see. We all like to get together and talk about books because we're librarians, and we might want to keep track of the different books that we talk about. So this is kind of a work in progress wiki, and the different letters here stand for different people's names. And when I click on one of them, it's going to go to another site that just has a little list of books that somebody talked about. So that's just a really basic example of how a business or an organization might want a wiki just for their own employees. Any type of group could do a wiki. I mentioned the camping trip. If you are part of a volunteer organization that doesn't have a lot of structure, but everybody has to sign up for a volunteer slot, you could just have a wiki that's basically a list, and people just plug their names in for certain dates. And I can show you an example of that. So again, the appearance is just very basic. Design is not a priority. And whatever the activity is, Tricia is going to be the person to go do it on January 8th, 2011. So it doesn't need to be fancy. Anybody can learn how to go in and do it. Individuals might do a wiki. If you just have an event that you're setting up, you can just create a wiki and be the only person that would contribute to it. That's not the best use of a wiki. The idea is that multiple people would be working on it. My example is, for my own wedding, we had a wedding wiki. So instead of a website that everybody could go to for different information, we made a wiki. But I was the only person that could edit it. So we're going to really quickly talk about how a wiki is created, and then secondly, we're going to talk about editing a wiki. WetPaint, PBWorks, Wikia, and Wikispaces are examples of free wiki hosting services. When I say hosting services, that's just the platform, that's just where you put your wiki. So if you went to the one on blogging I think Sue talked about Blogger and WordPress. Those are hosting services. And the web addresses for these different services are on your handout. I'm going to talk about WetPaint because that's the one I've used the most before. To get to WetPaint, you just go to wetpaintcentral.com. You'll get a screen that looks like this. This is just the top of the screen. And then you will click Sign Up. When you sign up, you'll need a username, an email address, and a password. The next step is they'll give you an option to add an image to your profile. That's just up to you. If you don't want to do it, you can just click Cancel. And then you'll select Go. So I know you're not going to remember all these steps, but the idea is that if you do create a wiki, you'll kind of see, oh yeah, I remember she said something like that. It'll seem kind of familiar. The next step, at least for WetPaint, is to make choices, and they call this the easy part. And the different options are you create a site name. So for the example I showed you, we did HPL reads. You create the URL or the address. You tell them what your website's going to be about or what your wiki's going to be about. This is a really important part down here. Who can edit your site? You need to kind of think about this ahead of time. Is this just for your group of friends that are going on the camping trip? Do you want outside input? Do you want to be the only one doing it? That's where you can make these choices. The next part is the fun part. And you can't tell from this, but it really is fun. These are all different styles, different backgrounds you can have for your wiki. And I think WetPaint kind of has the prettiest wikis, so that's why I showed this one. The next steps, you select Create Site. You then invite people to edit or to read your wiki. If you don't want to invite anybody else at that time, you just cancel that step. And then you can start editing. And by editing, I mean adding and changing the content. So now we talked about the basics when you want to start up your own wiki. The other thing with wikis is editing the wiki. And what I'm talking about here is when you hear about a wiki that's already existing, so you want to go to it and edit it. You would need to already know the web address, and you would need to sign in. So if I had told you how to log in to the one I made, you would go ahead and sign in right there. The creator needs to have either given you the login information, or it needs to be a site like Wikipedia where anybody can create their own login. This is how you actually edit a wiki. I kind of put 3 steps all on one slide. So the first thing is you make sure you're in edit mode. In WetPaint, it's called Easy Edit. So you would select Easy Edit. You make the changes. So in this case, I typed in a new title right here. And then you save the changes. For some reason in wikis, it's really hard to remember to save those changes. And I think it's because you think, well, I typed it in there. I see it on there. There it is. But you need to save the changes or they're just going to disappear. Possible reasons not to use a wiki. Depending on what your purposes are, a blog is sometimes better than a wiki. If you really want to be the only person putting information in, if it's almost going to be like a diary format, like a list, a blog might be better. You want to think about privacy. Do you even really want to be putting this information online? I mentioned WetPaint, PBWorks, and a couple other hosting services. WetPaint, you can never actually delete a wiki. You can go in and delete content that you don't want the public to see. And they tell you, eventually we'll get around to housekeeping, and if we see you have an inactive wiki, we'll probably get rid of it. PBWorks has a multi-step process to delete a wiki. So you can, but it takes a couple steps. So you just want to keep that in mind. You are putting information on the internet. Editing. Is somebody really going to go in and edit this continuously? Or are you just going to put it up there and leave it? That's not a very good use of a wiki. It should be constantly updated, constantly evolving. If you're like this guy here, and the idea of somebody else editing it really bothers you, probably not best to do a wiki. The other thing is design. If you're really creative and good at web design, you're probably going to be frustrated by the limitations of wikis. I don't know if you noticed on WebPaint, but there are a lot of ads on WebPaint. PBWorks doesn't have ads. That's the one where it's just a list, so it doesn't have ads, but it doesn't look as pretty either. So this is my last slide, and it's just a little demonstration of how crazy that email reply all can get, especially when you're attaching documents. So this is crazy reply all, and this is how nice and simple things can be when you use a wiki. So do you have any questions on wikis at this point? Yeah.
I take it then that, when you said it's easy to forget to say,
Mhm.
that it doesn't alert you to say.
No,
It just, if you get out of it and you have it, you lose it all.
right. And you might go into edit mode, and I type in Jean's title of the book that she read, and I save it. And then I remember I need to put in the author, so I type that in. And then I go make 3 other changes. But I only saved it after that first change. So I lost it, yeah. Other questions on wikis? Some of the other people talked about help and support with their various tools. Again, it varies on the different services. With WetPaint, when you go to help, it'll get you to a help wiki. What that means is that other people are all contributing information. And that can be really nice because those are the same people that had the same problems that you just did and they fixed it. PBWorks is a little better. Again, with any of these tools, it can be hard to get to a real person. So,
Does the help wiki then somewhat look like a message board?
it looks like a wiki.
It looks more like a wiki.
Yeah, I think some of them probably do kind of have message boards or forums, but WetPaint almost uses it as a further advertisement of their own things. So. Again, we do have the books over there, and thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for coming tonight. Next time, we're going to be talking about more reader kinds of tools. We're going to be talking about Library Thing, Goodreads, Overdrive, and book letters. Those are the 4 I believe we have next time. So join us next time. Thank you again.
Is that next Tuesday?
Next Tuesday. Thank you.
Gotcha.